Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and another video on Spring Data MongoDB. So in this video we are going to discuss about what is GeoJSON or the geolocation feature in MongoDB, right? When I say geolocation, it is map related functionality. You see in Google Map, right? You search for any particular dealers or car dealers or restaurant. What it does is basically it gives you all the restaurants which is nearer to your location. Let's say, so if you want to search for all the restaurants or all the car dealer or anything, right, within 10 miles or 10 kilometers of your radius from your point, from your coordinates, right? How are you going to do that? So that particular things we are going to discuss in today's video. So to do that, we no need to go to Google Map or anything. In MongoDB itself, we have the capability to perform that particular radius search, or we can call it as geospatial features, or we can call it as proximity search. Okay, so that capability is already there, but we need to know a couple of things before doing that, right? So in this video, we are going to particularly discuss about that. Okay, so without wasting time, let's get started on that. So if you have not yet watched the previous video, please go ahead and watch all these videos and then only come back to this video. Otherwise, you are not going to understand anything, okay? Or you will not be able to follow anything on this. So I would recommend, it will not take much time, but yeah, definitely videos are 20-25 minutes, but that is in detail, right? Otherwise, you will not be able to uh, get everything. So that is the reason. Please go ahead and watch and then come back to this video, okay? So let's get started on that. And I think I was talking about the geospatial queries, right? So if you see here in MongoDB documentation, I'm going to put all these links in my description so you can go ahead and have a look. So I already explained in my previous videos, right? The GeoJSON, when we created the location attribute or location key in our MongoDB, right? While creating the collection, I talked about we need to follow some convention over there, right? If you see location colon type is point, and then we have coordinates where we need the first one is longitude and second one is latitude. So let's go back to our one of the collection data in our collection, right? So that you'll be able to relate. So when we stored all our location data in our previous video, when we pulled it from one of the third-party API and basically stored all this data in our MongoDB, right? So if you see when we created location is my key in my collection, okay? That can be anything. You can specify coordinate, that doesn't matter. But the main thing is this object should have type and coordinates. And coordinates is array of this particular field which is double, okay? So this is what you have to follow, and this type means point means it's a particular point, right? Coordinates, you are standing in 2D, right, 2 dimension, and when you say one point, so in our JMOT here, right, we are particularly standing on one point. So let's say I am at my home, so this has one coordinates, right? So from these coordinates I want to basically calculate any distance to anywhere, right? So that is how in Google Map also you find out directions, right? So that is what is called as point, but we can have multiple things as well, not only point, right? We have different things. It can be a linear string or basically a line, polygon, line string, all these things. So if you see, if it is a line string, it will be multiple array of points, because if it is a line, right, it cannot be a single point, right? Similarly, if it is polygon, it is in a polygon structure, right? One, two, three, four. So it will have different structure to it. But in our case, we are going to use mostly point. So we no need to discuss about this. So if you are interested, go ahead with this one. What is a string? Basically, what is a line and all those things, right? Or polygon. But this is how the GeoJSON object first we need to create, and then only if we store the data in a particular convention in a GeoJSON format, then only we'll be able to perform all this geospatial or geolocation feature. So let me go ahead and show you my object which already we created, right? This is nothing but the GeoJSON point that is there within our location object. If you see, this is my location object, this is my collection, which is location data. Within that, I have location of type, which is GeoJSON point. And if you see the GeoJSON point, right, which is exactly having attribute called as type and list of doubles, which is coordinates, right? This is clear, and this is how we have already stored our data in proper format. So that is the reason when I was in my previous video, right, when we stored, that time I talked about this and I did not store it as is, right? And we created in that particular format so that in this video or in our subsequent videos, it will be easier for us, right? Okay, so before we do it in our application altogether, right? Let's try to perform some near query or perform that particular operation here in our MongoDB itself or MongoDB Compass. So let's do one thing. I have already captured all the location data. If you see, almost one of 31 records. So basically total 31 locations I have. So Gachibowli, then Manikonda. Here we have different locations, right? So I stay in particular area where it is nearer to this Manikonda, Gachibowli, and all those things, right? But if you see, there are different other areas as well which we have stored. So it is Serilingampalli, ward number 1106, so which is around 15 kilometers from here. Even this Miapur, which is around, let's say, 20 kilometers. Similarly, I have stored Kukatpalli and different other location, right? So I have one queries. So, and this is my coordinates. Okay. So how you can find your coordinates? You can simply go to Google Map, search for your particular location there. And in the URL, right, if you see here, it will give you @ this one. But here, first is the latitude and then its longitude. So when you copy it, you need to change that accordingly, okay? Or else definitely everything will be changing over there, okay? So I have already picked up the location, my current location. And from my current location, when I say this is to calculate the distance in miles. So within 5 miles, what all locations are there, I want to try out. Okay. So let's go ahead and run this query first. So what this query is, this is, I want to perform this particular operation, right, in location field. And this is near query, which is geometry, and type is point, and this is the coordinate from where I want to find all the locations. Those are within 5 miles from this particular coordinates. Okay. So if you want here meters or something, you no need to specify this particular thing. To convert it to miles, you need to do that. Okay. Okay, let's try running this query. Okay, great. So when I got this error, right, when I'm saying great, why I'm saying great is because intentionally I did not create the 2D sphere index so that I can explain you, right? Otherwise, if I'll forget that, then nothing is going to work. So what it says, unable to find index for geo near query. What does that mean? So in any database, without any index, right, if you perform any kind of operation, that is that will be costlier. Okay. And on top of that, if you want to search this or use this location related features, you need to create one index based on this location collection. Then only it is going to work. Otherwise, you think about how it can perform all this algorithm, right? Because this is one algorithm, simple calculation in geometry. Different coordinates we have, and from there, it just use one algorithm to find. It is called as radius search algorithm, right? And it will find. But for that, index should be there in that particular field. Otherwise, it is not going to work. So you need to go to indexes here, click on create index, search for that particular field. So in this case, it is location field, right? And okay, forget about those options. Here, type of the index, you need to specify it should be 2D sphere. Okay, it should be 2D sphere index because this is the index which is special type of index which is required for location search, and you need to click on this, then create index. So now index is created over here, right? Now that location 2D sphere index is already available. Now let's try out. Okay, so now if I try to find, okay, if you see here, one of 6 records, right? Which means out of 31 records within 5 miles from these coordinates, these are 6 records. I am getting it, which is Manikonda, Gachibowli. So basically, and this is Pupalgudda, right? Again, Manikonda, Gachibowli, Jubilee Hills. This is Serilingapalli. Within 5 miles, these are the locations which are available. Let's change it. Let's bring it down to 2 miles, right? We'll get to know. It should reduce. Okay. Now you can see only 3 records, right? So you can see it is able to perform all those operations, map related functionality, basically searching all the locations within that particular distance, and it is giving us the result, right? So if we go to explain query, first what it does, geonear 2D sphere, then fetch, then ix scan. Okay, these are the different phases. So if you want to go ahead and see the explain, basically the plan, right, you can always do that. And everywhere if you see 0 milliseconds, 0 milliseconds, that is because we have created index, or that index is there. And this performance wise also it is very much faster. Okay, consider you have, let's say, 1 million record also, and you want to perform this operation, it is going to work. Okay, and it is going to work with very optimal performance. That's what I'm saying. Okay, now that we have this query we have seen in Compass, but how do you basically do that in our Spring Data MongoDB? Now let's get into our coding. Okay, now that we have all this GeoJSON point is already there, our domain model is also there, and our repository is also there. If you remember, right, in our previous videos we have already discussed about all these things, right? So let's see, again it is going to return list of location, so nothing is going to change over there. Now we want to do this using query methods. We don't want to write that long query over here, whatever I am showing you here, right? I just want to avoid, because Spring Data MongoDB gives us all those flexibility, right? So find by location near. Okay, so this is what is the query method to find all the locations near this particular coordinates. Okay, but here you need to pass, I think there are 2 things where you need to pass the coordinates point and distance. Okay, otherwise how it is going to realize what it has to do that? So first thing is you are going to pass point and then distance. Okay, so this is one particular point from where we want to calculate the distance, or basically within that particular, so from this point 10 kilometers or 10 miles I want all the locations. Then point you have given, which is your coordinates. Next is distance you need to specify, right? Otherwise it is not going to work. Okay, okay, so that's all you have to do. After that, everything Spring Data MongoDB is going to convert it to internal query and get the result, calculate all those things, right? It will take care of that. So you no need to specify anything else, right? So let's go to our service class and create one point. Okay, so public list of location and find by location near. So that is what I think we wanted to make it consistent so that we don't forget about that, right? So here I am going to get coordinates, right? First thing. So double, here I'll say longitude, latitude, and distance in mile, right? So that distance in miles, if I see over here, let's say what I've we have, so you can give max distance in kilometer or anything. So everything will be here in double, right? So here let's specify max, again double max distance in kilometer. Okay, so I think let me specify longitude, maybe because long is already one keyword, right? So that could be the reason. Just to save time, let me just take this thing. Okay, okay, so point you have to again import the same thing, right? What it says, double longitude, the constructor point double is undefined, so we have to see. I think it is maybe because of we have given the wrapper type, right, where we might need to change it to primitive type. Okay, but I don't think that is the reason. There is something else. So let's see what is there. We need to create a position, and position in turn will take. Okay, so maybe that is because of a different version, right? So let's create position. Position to new. Okay, longitude, latitude, and I think it is not even required. All right, and here we are going to specify this position in this particular point, because the constructor, if you see, point position, that is the final. I think only one also it can take, right? So it depends upon the different MongoDB Spring Data Mongo version that we are using, right? So it completely depends upon that. Okay, so we have given this point is center point over here. Then max distance in kilometers. So I think we need to specify here. Then this matrix also you need to import. Okay, I think I did a mistake. Instead of some other thing, I just imported. Okay, I imported IO micrometer, right? So make sure that you import this one, ORG Spring Framework Data Geo. That is the matrix where you will get all the. Um, so just make sure of that, okay? And find by location near. You have to use that particular method, right? So now our method is ready, where we are passing longitude, latitude, and distance in miles, these three things, and then we are planning to fetch all the locations within that particular proximity or radius. So let's go to our controller and create one method, and here we'll say custom query. Instead of that, I will specify geo, okay, and here we'll say it is longitude, then latitude, then distance in kilometer. Okay, So all these things we are going to take it as part of path variable. So make sure you make it as path variable over here, okay? And everything here is double, right? So specify as longitude. So we may need to call it as longitude, otherwise because of this keyword, right? Long is one primitive type, so it will not allow us. Okay. Similarly, let's keep it lat only here. It doesn't matter. All right. So we have this. Now we should have latitude, which is, we'll specify lat. Okay. Then the other one would be our distance, right? Which is distance in kilometer. That is also in double, right? So we are good over here. I think let me just format this. Okay, format selections. Now location service, here we need to call find by location near longitude, latitude, and distance in kilometer, right? Then we are good. So what we are passing over here, longitude, latitude, and distance in kilometer. Let's restart our application and see how it works. Okay, it started. Let's go ahead and try. So in our previous video, we have seen all this custom query and all. Let's create a duplicate tab. And what is our, so we have location V1, then we have this, right? Let's copy this after V1. And what is my longitude? First of all, let's specify our longitude. So this is my longitude. Then next one is latitude. And this time it is in kilometer. Okay, last time whatever we checked, that was in miles. So let me specify 5 kilometer over here, right? So make sure what you have specified in this service method, right? Matrix. So this matrix, you can specify kilometer, miles, all these things, right? So based on that only, the result will be. Okay, I think we got, okay, I think there are double slash over here. So let's check our controller again. It is geo slash this, right? Okay, we got some error. Let's see what is the error, right? So expected parameter type of class Spring Framework dot point, but got class MongoDB GeoJSON Mongo client point with root cause. Okay, so the point that we have added, right? Maybe that is what we did a wrong thing. So let's go ahead and this point, right? Okay, again we did a mistake. Here we can create, let me first change that to, instead of that one, GeoJSON Mongo client, right? Let me do one thing. We can use the point uh, class of Spring Data itself. This one, okay? That was the mistake I did. And if you see here, instead of position, we can specify longitude, latitude, right? And now we don't need this one, position, because that is from driver, Mongo client driver, okay? And here if you see current point, right? So this method find by location is not applicable argument. Okay, let's go there. Again, here we need to check what is that point we have used. See, again here it is Mongo client, this point that we have used. So just make sure like either you use directly Mongo client, which is the native driver of Mongo client, or use Spring Data Mongo, any of them, okay? Which should be in sync, right? Now we are in sync, okay? So this is what all these things, right? We need to understand when we are basically using Spring Data MongoDB, you will have Mongo client as well as Spring Data Mongo related all the classes. So stick to Spring Data Mongo so that you no need to do all those operations manually, okay? Because Spring Data Mongo takes care of multiple things, right? So let's try running it again. When you import the classes, right? Because this class will be available in Mongo client as well as Spring Data MongoDB. But package you need to check and accordingly you have to import that particular thing. Okay, let's try again. So from this particular coordinates, we did not get anything. So let me try 15 kilometer or something. Okay, maybe the coordinates that I am giving. Okay, 78. This one, double two, and okay, let's verify now. What is that query that it fired? Right, so near sphere x is this one, y is this one, and max distance is this particular thing, right? So if I say 200, even then I'm not getting it. What could be the reason? Let's find out that one. So max distance is coming as this one. Okay, so here 78, 78, both of them, right? Let's go ahead and check. Maybe we have specified both the thing, longitude, latitude. So in our controller, we might be, see, both the places we have done this longitude and latitude, right? So be careful whenever we are doing anything. I think there might be some chances, right? So let's run it again. So all these things, if this longitude, latitude, everything, because this is calculation, right? This is based on the coordinates point. Otherwise, it is not going to work. Okay, so let me try again 5 kilometer and search. Here you go. So we could see the results. And how many records we received? 1, 2, 3. So within 5 kilometer, we have these 3 locations. Let me search for 2 kilometers. Only one, right? So why I did all these things? So I wanted you to show, right? There are, when you do this thing, you will face small issues where the point that we have here, right? This is very much important. Point and distance. If you see here, it is coming from the import. If we see, it is coming from Spring Data, org Spring Framework Data, Geo. This is the package you should make sure, okay? And you should use all of them. Wherever, if you are not able to achieve something with query methods and all those things, and if you write Mongo template, if you'll use, in that case, you might go for Mongo client, which is the native driver, right? That is why I wanted to show you while importing, it makes sure it should be consistent across, even here, right? And point when you say, you should make sure it is always longitude, then latitude, right? And based on that, you can perform all these operations. So let's say if I'll say, we have total 31 records, right, in our database. Let's say I will say within 50 kilometer, right? So again, I did something wrong. Okay, I basically removed everything within 50 kilometer. So if you see, we are getting almost all the points or locations in Hyderabad, Telangana, right? 50007 to, so everything if you see, right, in Telangana state, everything is coming in Hyderabad. But there are a couple of things which is, let's say if I say 1000 kilometers from here, we should be able to see something else as well. Let's see. Okay, this is also Hyderabad, Telangana. Okay, let's go ahead. See, again, Andhra Pradesh it came, right? There are a few other, we have even Odisha it is showing, Malkangiri, which is around 500 kilometers from here or 600 kilometers, right? So, so all these records we are getting. So based on this, I think this is how you can perform geolocation or geospatial functionality of Spring Data MongoDB or MongoDB, and you can build your map related application, anything, right? You can build application like Uber, Swiggy, any map related things, right? When you're building your backend application, you just need to know what is the current location of your user. And once you know that, then you can play around and basically you can perform whatever the functionality that nowadays you see in Swiggy or Zomato, Uber, Ola, all those things, right? All those things you can do it. So next video, we will get into more detail where we'll get all the locations and the distance also it will calculate and give it to us. Okay, and we'll do a sorting, paging, all those things. So in our next video, we are going to discuss more on that. But I think this video is a longer one, but because I wanted to cover everything and I wanted you to first of all show you all those failures or errors, right? So that you realize what is this happening, where we can miss and all those things. But that is important that you need to understand that. And that is the reason, right? I even the 2D sphere index I did not create and I showed you. So this is all I think for today's video, but in our next video even we'll cover more on the advanced features of this geospatial feature, okay, or geospatial functionality. So if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and do subscribe so that you'll get notified for the future videos, and please do not forget to press on the bell button so that you will not miss the previous or all the upcoming videos, right? And if you have not seen the previous videos, please start it from the beginning so that you'll understand. And we can have a couple of further discussion as well. Whenever you have anything, you can put it in comments and all, right? Where if you want to see any videos with respect to MongoDB or Spring Data, any specific topics, right? And I can come up with that videos as well. So if you like the video, please press the like button and do subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching the video.